My name's Patty Mitchell, and I'm the Executive Director and collaborating partner at Passionworks Studio in Athens, Ohio, and also help organize the Honey for the Heart pop-up studio that happens at Halloween time. So participatory projects, I would say they're collaborative community projects, and that's a huge area of focus for Passionworks and for Honey for the Heart. So our intention is to bring our community together in the process of making and experimenting and researching ideas, and then having this shared experience that culminates in making stuff, but also making connections and new connection, purpose, and belonging. That's our nugget, that's our flame. Well, I think it's important to engage the community into projects because then there's ownership of the project for the entire community, and it creates the visual evidence of a community, a shared experience. People identify with a project. They're like, I live in this town, and here's examples. Here's an example of why I want to live here. This is who we are. And so we create cultural identity, but not just by hiring somebody to make a statue that represents us, which is cool too. Like, that's cool. Like, it's all good. But what we do is we bring people in, and at the intersect of making, we can't help but create community identifiers and the visual evidence of who we are. And by doing so, we create new networks and new ideas happen. If I'm working with somebody who knows how to weld, all of a sudden I can weld because I can be like, hey, could you, and then I don't have to study welding because I have a community partner. So the foundation of what's possible expands exponentially. The enjoyment of being able to come together and transform objects into new things, but that shared experience doubles the joy. The best thing that I can say is that it's highly productive. You get a lot of participation and then team players because of it. And then it gets traction like nothing I've ever seen before. And we can identify challenges and go after them. You know, if people are lonely and isolated, and, we can change that. If there's a space that's a dead space in a mall, we can change that. If people need to know more about mosquitoes and not putting, standing water in their yard, we can address that. We can address everything through spectacle and delight in this shared way of working. What are the first steps to making a project inclusive is to have the intention that it's going to be, and then universal design so that it's accessible on lots of different levels, physically, emotionally, and that, you have a desire that all members of community can participate and not just segments. We silo so much of our communities. Well, this is a project for older folks, this is a project for kids, this is a project for teenagers, and that can be great. That's nothing wrong with that. You can also have a project that invites the whole mix in. One of my favorite ways of community engagement is to have a space that is organized and ready in a responsive way to people coming in and being engaged. So the concept of projects is underway, and the materials are there, and there's enough room for investigation and freedom for those who want it. And then there are also stations that are very specific what the requests are, because people come in at all different levels. Some people really want to be told what to do. They don't want any movement for interpretation. They may have not been making anything for years, and this is their first intersect again. People are very tender when they're creating, and I think we're tender beings anyway, but any criticism or really? Those are your color choices? That can stop somebody from making for years, especially children with an arts education and the judging and the criticism. It's all play. It's investigation. It's just, so we want to make sure that if people haven't been making, that this is going to be a really positive experience where they fall in love with working with materials again. I think it's in our nature to make, a lot of us. It's just such a warm, beautiful thing, and we want to give that back to people. And so my favorite thing is to create environments where investigation and the unknown can be discovered, and then have it be so positive that people want to come back and back and back and back and back again. How to avoid conflict, or if there is conflict, what to do. And so one of the things that I'm really aware of and is true to everything, I never tell anybody what to do. Like if I go to a community, I'm invited there. Not everybody's invited me, but a portion of the community has invited me to come in and help facilitate a project. And I believe that big things come from small movements, right? I like to sew. So if I can find 2 people who like to sew, I'll go to the community center and we'll just sit and talk and sew, right? Do some hand stitching, maybe we'll make baby bibs. What does the community need? We'll make placemats for the restaurant. I don't know, Meals on Wheels. We'll do something. I'm listening to them. They're telling me this, that, and the other. Then those 2 participants are telling 5 other people, she's not so bad. She's not too nutty. It's like we're making these bibs for kids over at the preschool. And then, well, I can make a bib. Okay, let's make some more bibs. Bibs. Oh, we could sell these, right? Let's see. Do we want to make them? Do we like doing it? Yeah, we could decorate them. Oh, let's use the kids' drawings and put them on the bibs. Oh, yeah, that's great. Let's do that. It happens organically, especially in communities that are tender in that maybe they have a history of outsiders coming in telling them what to do, outsiders coming in and taking advantage. You just have to be very sensitive. And it's a successful project doesn't start with 100 people jumping in. A successful project can be 1 other person, or just taking your sewing and going into a park and starting to bead and see who shows up. Sometimes you don't even have to make announcements, you just begin and then see what happens. But it's, I think, allowing things to unfold and to respond to needs and listening, and then always know that you're going to let go of it. It's not your project. It's a community project. And so I'm always thinking about, it's a catch and release approach. So if we had a bunch of bibs being made and there's a cottage industry and there's a time where I can release and back away, I will. But I'm still available for talking, but it's not my project. I just do a startup, catch, and release, and go to the next one. So it's, earning trust, really. Top 5 things for beginners in engagement, in community engagement projects. Say 1, learn how to do something and be pretty proficient in it. You don't have to be like a world-renowned something, but if you're gonna do hand stitching, know how to thread a needle, make a knot, and do it on your own time, so that when you are facilitating a project, you have enough information that you can be helpful to another person, and you have more confidence. Doesn't mean you're not gonna learn every time you thread that needle, you're gonna learn something new, but be proficient in something that you're sharing. And then be in love with wonder, and just be enamored by surprise. I think, to see a kid sit on the floor and make a giant dinosaur, like to have that appreciation of how incredible that is, like don't lose that. Like, and then recognize, like if you see that dinosaur and you do see it and you're like, oh, that's awesome, you can then take that dinosaur and turn it into a 12-foot puppet or a bib or a t-shirt or a cardboard, temporary little thing, but you're celebrating that person who's made that thing. Being able to pivot, that you can't, as an organizer, you have to organize, you have to imagine outcome or have a larger project in mind. But if other things happen along the way, recognize them as gifts. And sometimes you pivot. It's like we're going to do paper mache here because we got all our equipment here, we're doing it. But then as you start to go, somebody really wants to make a fort, and the community's like, make a fort. Let yourself move if you can. Like different things happen. You just don't. We're making this because we said we would. It's play. So, like you may have to do a parade or something, and you have to, have it ready at 6 o'clock on the 12th. But the things that you make, you can pivot all the time. Have a bag of tricks. Have projects ready to go so that if a group of 20 that you weren't expecting comes, you have something for them to do that's productive and part of the project. And there's a lot of by the seat of one's pants, but you can get better and better and better at that with preparation and understanding. And then just, I think, being really grateful for the people who show up and that they are being vulnerable. They don't know what's going to happen, and to respect that, that's brave. And then that you're partners in the making. I think we're designed as humans to come together and make together. And we want things to be better. Like, I want you to be happy. I want to do what I can to support you. And if and you, yeah. It's like, I want you to have a happy life. And if the structure is there to be able to make it easier, people come and they'll do it. So I'm so happy that you're doing this work to create this movement. And if anybody is feeling that tug, like, well, just try it. Involve yourself in other projects. Create your own. Doesn't have to be huge. Start small, and then see where it takes you. But it is certainly powerful and so much